Whoa. Hey, it's Busted Pencils. It's fully leaded education talk. Educated educators talking education classes in session. Dr. Johnny Lupinacci, Jacob, chairman of the board. Me, Dr. Tim Slecker. And what an eventful Labor Day weekend, especially to one of our team members.
Oh, yeah. Exciting.
Dr. Johnny Lupinacci, you got to visit some other doctors these past few days. What's up, man?
Man, different kind of doctors, but yeah, man, Labor Day, who'da thunk it? Not me. But and just waking up Labor Day morning and the old appendix wasn't happy and it got supposedly got infected somehow and I got appendicitis.
Oh,
I wasn't quite sure what it was, but it felt pretty awful and had to go to the ER and man, I was in surgery and now here I am on the mend pretty quick.
woo,
So
nice.
thank you to all those teachers out there who taught all those doctors and nurses who took good care of me, because that's how it works. I mean, really,
Yeah,
I mean, they're amazing at what they do. They're doing. I say this often, like teachers and nurses are really akin in a lot of ways. They're in a care profession. They're radically underfunded, increasingly privatized. And we say this public education is the bedrock of democracy. Well, also so is being healthy.
oh,
And so like a healthy medical system is so important, especially in the public sector, right? And so, getting to hear and see our bright and brilliant nurses and doctors working in less than ideal conditions, right? And so many people in the ER waiting room, right? So much trouble with different insurances and things. And schools, as we talk about the politics of schools, is just like a refresher that similarly the politics of health in this country seem to be amuck. and
yeah.
and it reminds me, Tim, of like we have a guest coming on in a few weeks we're excited about, our pal Randy Weingarten,
Right.
whose book I cannot wait for. It just looks amazing. So keep listening because we'll have that show coming out later. We haven't done it yet, but we're interviewing again our good friend Randy Weingarten, who's president of the AFT, and
Mhm.
which is one of the largest now unions for nurses.
Right.
So you have teachers and nurses. I think this is a really powerful thing. So that's my long-winded way of saying I'm on my post-op meds. I'm a little short today on things, so I'll be here, but
Well,
don't count on me for a whole lot because I
well,
haven't been keeping up.
I got a question though, and
Mhm.
don't dwell on the answer, but so of the things that, can be removed, it's tonsils, gallbladder,
Mhm.
uh, appendix. So what do you how many you got now or where you
Well,
at on the removal
Well, if
site?
that's if those are the 3, I think you could get a few more things removed,
Well,
but
I mean,
out
there's,
of that out of that common trifecta, I got 2 of the 3 out. I don't have tonsils, and I no longer have an appendix,
okay.
and I still have a gallbladder. But hey, who knows how that one works? You might just
Well,
wake up one day and then that's gotta go.
that little green sack that you used to identify in middle school biology class, like, ew, that's the gallbladder. And I remember finding the gallbladder doing my first frog dissection in ninth grade, and thinking, I'm like, I could take this gallbladder out of this frog and it won't matter. And then everybody was looking at me going, Tim, it won't matter to this frog anyway. It's all
It's true. It's
right.
true.
All right. So glad to see you in good health, Johnny. But again, pointing that out, yeah, health also being a foundation of democracy. I think that's something we're going to have to explore even more in the future. But what's really important to democracy is the ability to prove your commitment to America first, particularly, Johnny,
He's
if
doing the
you
sarcasm, everybody.
well, I'm throwing it up, especially if you were educated in those liberal bastion cesspools of Marxist ideology, California and New York. Well, if you're going to be a teacher, particularly if you're coming out of those states, there now is an assessment available to prove your Americanness, America. And our boy, you know, State Superintendent Oklahoma Ryan Walters teamed up with that illustrious, Ivy, no, not Ivy League, but Weed League University, PragerU, and developed probably one of the most hard hitting assessments of Americanness. That's that test, Johnny, where if you're going to teach in Oklahoma, you got to prove that America first matters to you. And Johnny, I just want to start, and Jacob too. You can pay attention, jump in here, but
Oh yeah.
I got one question that I want to throw at you guys to see if you're okay. Question 5 of 34. Why is the distinction between male and female considered important in areas like sports and privacy? Okay. A, for equity in minority communities. B, to preserve fairness, safety, and integrity for both sexes. C, to increase participation in sports. D, to enhance the self esteem of transgender children. Those are your choices to prove your commitment to America first. I see Jacob's first on the buzzer. Jacob.
Um, no, I am not now, or have I ever been a member of the Communist Party?
Okay. That actually would be a really good answer to that
Yeah.
question. Again, yeah, lots of fun, lots of sarcasm there, but
I'm gonna go with B. Was it
B,
B?
to preserve the fairness, safety, and integrity for both sexes. Yes, it is
What?
B, according to Oklahoma. That is why male and female distinctions are important because fairness, safety, and integrity for both sexes is the American core value that typically is recited after the Pledge of Allegiance in the mornings.
Well, man, I'm so lost.
I
I know I'm post operation, like barely even 24 hours. And I'm on some I'm not too bad with the medications. They gone light on the pain stuff. But I mean, that could be one reason. But also this is a lot of I'm completely
I know.
lost. What's the,
Johnny,
what number question? Because I have the test up. What number question are you talking about?
this was question 6 or 5
5.
of 34.
5. Got it.
Why is the distinction between male and female considered important in areas like sports and privacy? And Jacob landed on the correct answer according to Oklahoma.
Sure.
And
If I could say the thing I think is ridiculous about this, Tim, or most ridiculous, or at least is standing out to me, is that you've got a list of 4 things, which I guess are kind of all factors you think about.
right,
But no, actually only one is right and the others are dead wrong. It's like
absolutely.
fairness in sports. Well, I guess we should balance that. And self-esteem for trans kids. Yeah, we should balance those together. They're both important.
Yeah.
These different things. Actually, no. Only one is right and the others you're going to the gulag.
Thank you, Jacob, for pointing out, beyond the sarcasm, the seriousness of actually the wrong answers, according to Oklahoma, and what the wrong answers communicate about a certain sense of how they ideologically, yes, I put it out there, but Oklahoma's ideological test of the ideology they want teachers to possess. As
Yeah,
they
this
come
is
in.
crazy test, Tim. This is
Thank you,
I've
John.
said it
So,
before.
did you go through it now? And you got
I mean, I'm looking at it, and we know we've talked about this test on here before. It's a desperate cry for attention from the ultimate pick me, right over there in Oklahoma. And there's great people in Oklahoma and amazing teachers there and great kids going to school, so it doesn't fare Oklahoma well or represent them well, much like how in the larger scheme of this thing, I believe most Americans are not represented by the interests of MAGA. And this is a MAGA alliance test.
exactly.
And it really reads like it's written poorly in the sense of, like Jacob pointed out, it's not just like, okay, that's the answer,
Mhm.
but all of them listed matter. And there could be, like, if you were really writing this test in the spirit of that question, as like someone who cares about young people, right? Talking about, two genders and sports, And even now, that's our system. We're exploring ways to include more diverse identities and how to handle that and how to make that. There could have been all of the above matter
Mm.
in this consideration. Okay, but instead, it's really setting you up to kind of force you into a corner that you said it there. There is a correct answer, and it's this pledge of allegiance to
Mhm.
mega politics. And it's never going to stick. It's more of a attention getter. Like I
Mhm.
said, this ultimate pick me. That person who's just constantly like, hey, me, look at me. Hey, pay attention to me. Well, that's the superintendent wants the attention of the, Trump administration, and it pledges its allegiance by trying to say it's doing these tests. I don't even think they'll be able to. And if they do, I think it's going to be a massive joke. But Tim, the bigger thing you brought up, and I want to come back around to it. You used sarcasm, so I was lost. I was like, wait, are we all about this? Oh no, that's the sarcasm. But the other bigger issue here for me is that patriotism is a core value of democracy.
Mm.
And there is a long list, not long, but 10 or so core values of democracy that patriotism is part of. And it's holding at value, like holding, like practicing all those core values at equal amounts. That's sort of the goal. Like
Mhm.
life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, diversity. Like,
Mm.
I know, dare we say these? They were out before the liberals claimed them as things. Like, these things existed as core values of democracy, which we have here in the U.S. is a democracy. Like, we have a democratic, not saying that we're Democrats, but that process, we're a democracy. So, that's anti-democratic in the sense that it says patriotism is, not holding all those core
Right.
values. So it's like redefining patriotism as, allegiance to MAGA because Trump is the president. There's a foothold there, and this is why this is a serious issue.
It
But it's truly an erosion of patriotism.
hold that thought right there because I wanna kinda jump in because I think what you're pointing out, Johnny, really is the distinction here, which is that typically, um, I don't know, Democrats or liberals, whatever, are portrayed as anti-patriotic, and
Right.
the reality is here, what you're pointing out,
And some of
Johnny,
them
is
are. And
right,
some of
well,
them
right, right, but what you're saying here, though, is like, look, patriotism, true patriotism holds these core values, and, if you want, like, a patriotism test, a patriotism litmus test, this ain't what's in front of you when you're taking this test. This is an allegiance to a certain ideology test. It has nothing to do with patriotism because when you, like you said, when you put those core values of patriotism under the microscope and what they look like, it's not about allegiance to an ideology other than the ideology of, I guess, patriotism, and so it's interesting that this is America First test, this is all these things, and just to point out to people going like, "Actually, this test is probably the most anti-American thing I have ever really seen kinda get floated out because this
right.
has nothing to do with
Or
patriotism.
or Tim, it's very American at the moment.
Yeah.
And America needs to decide, are we a democracy or not? Because it's not democratic. It's pretty malicious towards
Mhm.
people, and that's not what a democracy's goal should be. I love that you highlighted that, Tim, because I went into my notes. I teach about core democratic values and patriotism. I always like to do street level definitions, like just short. Let's define it so we have a vocab word around it. Right after the whole list of core democratic values: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, justice, common good, equality, truth, diversity, and popular sovereignty. There's patriotism, and that means having a devotion to our country
Mhm.
and the core democratic values in what we say and what we do. It's so that second part gets clipped off
Ah.
by this America First of it, devotion to our country, and that's our president. Let's go. It's not taking into consideration the whole, read the whole
Mm.
definition, right? And support of our country and these core democratic values,
Yeah.
because the values define, this is kind of basic stuff, but and let's break it down. It's class in session. Values give definition to something, right? I can say that, my glass of water is actually a football, but it's not, because there's measurable sort of values here. Like, it's actually water, it's glass, it's not a football, right? So if we say something's a democracy, then we have to look and say, are the people participating in that democracy, you know, practicing these values? Are they in what they say and what they do? And if they're not, then it's not democracy. So you can't cherry pick little pieces like liberty. Oh, yeah, that's right. Everyone has a right to do what they want. Oh, but you also have common good. So it can't go up against common good. It also has to have justice involved, like what we believe is a just society. We also have, equality. It can't hurt equal opportunities for everybody to have, right? So yeah, it's not easy. Democracy is
No.
not easy. That's why we teach it
Right.
and practice it. But there is a set of core values, just like any group has. Like, whether you're in a religion, like maybe you're a Christian and you adhere to the 10 commandments. That's your group's values. Like, are you espousing those values as you live in the world? That's great. Our country also has a set of values that helps us define. And this is an example of, cherry picking one of those, and not only cherry picking patriotism, but taking part of the definition, just the
Yeah.
first few words
Well,
in support of
and-
the country.
And that to me says that therefore it's not patriotism they're looking at. I know, Jacob.
Right.
What do you think of the two madmen ranting here?
Well, maybe I'm going crazy too, because you're all making a lot of sense to me today. I agree with Johnny. We've got multiple values in a democratic system in a democratic country, and it's just like the answers to that stupid PragerU question. All the answers have to be balanced against each other. They're all factors that go into making these decisions and working together in democracy. The answer to the question is not patriotism. We're not a democracy. We're not working together. It's just patriotism. No, I mean, you have to have a balance of all these different things in order for us to get along together. Also, I'm not going to get into this too much, Tim, but I mean, do you have to be patriotic to be a teacher? I don't know. I mean, if you're a science teacher and you're doing a great job teaching science, does it matter that you kind of you prefer Colombia as a country at home at night? In your bed, you think of moving to Bogota. I don't think it's anybody's business.
I think mostly when I have those visions, it's about becoming a contestant on, the history channels alone, and being left out on some remote place alone. That to me is true liberty right there.
Yes.
Okay, a lot's going on, but you know what? Kind of coming up, and I know, Dr. Johnny, we do not want to see what happens when the side effects of, potential medications take hold. But
He was already thinking his glass of water was a football earlier.
I
So
know. I'm glad you saw
It's a
that.
little
Jacob.
wild today. It's a little wild today. So maybe it's almost time for me to go.
Well, there is on actually the Fox News site where I found my questions. There's a little bit of a commentary from a superintendent in the state of Oklahoma. This morning, I took the new teacher qualifications test that Ryan Walters says teachers will need to pass to teach in Oklahoma. My score, 100%. I guess that makes me highly qualified in under 5 minutes. Honestly, it felt like an 8th grade pop quiz, no studying, no effort, barely a second thought. And since the entire test is already posted online, anyone could preview it for themselves. In other words, cheat. I don't want to fault Oklahoma for wanting to have excellent teachers. We all want that. But sorry, this online multiple quiz test does anything but that. So here we go, Johnny. Evidence of what you said. There are great people. There are great leaders. There are great educators in Oklahoma. And those are the types of voices we continue to want to hear and, put it out there. If anybody actually does have to take this test to get their teaching license in Oklahoma, Busted Pencils wants to talk to you because we want to have a conversation. But other than that, now it's time for your moment of zen. I believe that compassion is basic to human nature, and I am counting on that to pull us through.
Hey, thanks for listening to Busted Pencils class in session today. And you can always grab great podcasts like this one. Just going over and search Busted Pencils at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, you can always find us on the Civic Media website or on our website, bustedpencils.com. And don't forget, you can find us throughout the entire week, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with homerooms, class in sessions. And that's right, always loads of fun to wrap up the work week on Fridays with chairman of the board, Jacob's Choice. Those are always a blast. And listen up. I know you love this because you get us for a full hour every Saturday when you tune into the Busted Pencils broadcast at 3 p.m. Central Time across all the Civic Media Network stations for your favorite hour of two blue-collar scholars, Tim and Johnny, and keep busted pencils.